Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jessica. Today is an update for my Pan Those Palettes project for 2023. This year I'm working on two separate eyeshadow palettes that have separate goals, and I'm really excited to update you on my progress this month. I have some exciting updates and I am slowly but surely heading towards the goals that I would like to reach on these palettes for this year. So I'm going to get right on into the video, but before I do, take a moment to give this video a quick thumbs up if you love panning content and you like my videos. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you as a little part of my YouTube community. Let's get right on into the video. Starting first with my Tarteist Pro To Go palette. As usual, my goal for this palette is to use it up entirely. I don't know if I'm gonna get to that goal, but I am hopeful that I'm gonna get pretty close. Here's what my palette was looking like last month. My goal for this month was to finish Hype, to use Drive and Crisp 15 times each, to use Stylin' 20 times, and to use Boss and Dominate 5 times. And here's what my palette is looking like today. And hopefully you can see pretty quickly that I did accomplish at least one of those goals. Quite obviously, I have my first empty pan in this palette. Finally, here we are in the month of August. Finally have an empty pan in this thing. Feels really good to have gotten there. And I'm hoping that this will keep me motivated along my path as we finish up the rest of this year. So I'm gonna go through these shades one at a time and show you close-up videos of them last month compared to this month, tell you how many times I've used them last month, how many times I've used them total during this year, and what my goal will be on it for the following month. So let's go ahead and get started with this first shade up here, Drive. Here's what Drive was looking like last month after 129 uses. I reached for this 16 times, so one use over my goal, so I've now used it 145 times total, and here's what it's looking like today. And I'm hoping that there will be some kind of expansion that's obvious in these videos. It's hard to tell day by day as I'm using this product because it wears so slowly around the sides, but I am getting pretty close. I feel like this one just keeps going and going. It's taking a long time to finish up. It's quite firmly pressed in here. All of these mattes are, but it's a really easy shade to wear. And there's no reason I can't reach for it on a near daily basis. I do have this in my crease today as the very first transition shade, and it just works great with any cool toned makeup look. It's not the best for warm tone looks. You can definitely make it work, but I prefer it with cool for sure. I'm gonna just continue to reach for it as much as possible though, until I maybe blend it in with these other shades. I'm gonna talk more about my possible plans for this palette at the end of the video, so I'm not gonna dive too much into it now, but it might not stay as a single shade for long, depending on what you all think. Okay, so moving on to this next shade right here, Stylin'. Here's what Stylin' looked like last month. This was after 173 uses in this project. I only reached for this 8 times in the past month, making for 181 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And obviously I'm nowhere near my 20 use goal. I was 12 uses short, and that's because I stopped using this in my brows. I have another brow product that I'm trying to finish up real quick. Just because it's so close to getting finished, I've been really focusing on it, and this has fallen by the wayside. But as soon as I finish that brow pencil, I'm gonna go back into this powder hard as my eyebrow powder, and hopefully that will get me some more progress on it in the next month quite quickly. And then again, eventually this might meld in with the rest to create another product. So that one's a little disappointing for this month, but I'm hoping to have a better jump on it next time. Next shade in the palette is Boss right here. Here's what Boss was looking like last month after 36 uses in this project. I reached for it 8 times in the past month, making for 44 uses total. And here's what it's looking like today. And this pan is getting to be not only quite big, but also quite shallow. I've really been working my finger around the edges of that pan and trying to just wear down the product. And I think that's really been working. And I hope that you'll see a big difference here. I can definitely tell a difference. And I went 3 uses over my 5 use goal. So that is a big accomplishment for me there. It's really hard for me to reach for these shimmers just because I'm panning so many eyeshadows right now. And there's a lot of shimmers in my other pan that palette that I really need to hit pan on. So these are an effort to reach for. So any use I get on them is a win in my book. Moving on to the bottom row, that first exciting shade there is Hype. So here's what Hype was looking like last month. This was after 128 uses in this project, and I used it a whopping 33 times in the past month, making for 161 uses total. And here's what it's looking like today. And as you can see, we already, established this. It is empty. And I'm so happy I finally have an empty pan in here. I've been using this on my face almost every single day as a face highlight. And then I've also used it on my lid quite a few times, as well as my inner corner. So that is how I got that empty pan. I'm so happy we finally got there. And I'm hopeful that this will be a trend that will continue as we move forward throughout this year. I would love to see a bunch of empty pans in here before the year's up. Next is that medium brown matte shade Crisp. Here's what crisp was looking like last month after 94 uses in this project. I reached for it 16 times in the past month, making for 110 uses total. And here's what it's looking like today. And I'm hoping that it looks a little bit bigger. This is another one that is very pigmented and very tightly pressed, so the progress is very slow on it, but I am using it. I'm using it in my crease on a regular basis, and I've also been using it as a bronzer mixed in with some of these other shades, and it works okay for that. It's quite pigmented for a bronzer, but if I'm careful with it, I can make it work. So that's one that I'm really hoping to finish before the year is up. I definitely think I can finish this one. I know I can finish Drive. If I could at least finish those three, that would be great, and get these other three very, very close to being finished. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about that final shade. Right down here in the corner is Dominate. So this is my challenge shade for the palette, as many of you know. I do have it on my eyes today. I put this all over my lid as the first shimmer base, and then I topped it with a more hot pink and then like a duochrome. So I have it layered, but definitely the outer part of my lid is heavily packed with Dominate, and I got a good use on it today. So here's what it was looking like last month. This was after 35 uses in the project. I reached for it only 3 times in the past month, one of those days being today. So I've now used it 38 times total, and here's what it's looking like today. And I'm hoping that just with those 3 uses, you'll see a little bit of a change there. I'm disappointed I didn't get to that 5 use goal, but at least I got 3. That's better than nothing. And hopefully I can find ways to make this wearable so I can get more use on it in the next couple months, because I really like to get some more rapid progress going on this shade if I'm going to get any kind of a dent in it before this project is over. I've been weighing this palette during the course of this project. When I brought it into the project in January, it was weighing 62.64 grams. Last month, it was weighing 58.13 grams, and this month it's weighing 57.66 grams. So in the past month, I've used 0.47 grams of product, which is pretty much my standard. About a half a gram a month has been my average as I've been going through this. And I've used about 5 grams total from this palette, which is really great to hear. When you put it all together cumulatively, it really puts in perspective how much progress I've made, even though day by day it feels kind of a little bit frustrating and just like I'm not making much headway. Once I see it all put together, it really does encourage me and keep me motivated to move forward. I feel like I'm a little bit at a standstill with this palette. I feel like it's hard for me to reach for all of these shades the amount that I want to with all of the other things that I'm currently working on panning and the other projects I'm participating in. So what I'm thinking I want to do, I'm definitely gonna do this eventually, but it's just a matter of when I do it, is I want to franken together some of this, I don't think all of it will work well, and maybe some of this together into a bronzer. I think if I mix them carefully and kind of compare them to other bronzers in my collection, I can get a pretty good bronzer shade, press that into a separate pan, and just use it up quickly as a bronzer. I think if I do that, I can use up that bronzer within a month or 2 and just really fly through this product, because as eyeshadows, it's just a lot more difficult to get consistent, rapid progress because I'm not reaching for them every single day. And I'm also not using nearly the amount of product I would if I used it as a bronzer. So I was thinking I might do that after this update, but I also thought about waiting just a little bit longer until I'm really desperate, like for that last final 3 months of the year maybe. We still have a good 5 months to work on this palette. It would be interesting to see how far I could get on these eyeshadows in the next 2 months and then really get that final push in that last quarter of the year if I really need to, or should I just get it over with now and franken these all together and see what happens from there? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I love seeing the month by month progress in this palette. So that's a big reason why I don't want to franken these together at this point. I just want to give it a little bit more time to get that gradual progress footage that is so satisfying to me. And I also can still use this as a bronzer without frankening it together. Of course, it's not nearly as easy to do that, but I have made it work by dipping into the separate shadows and kind of mixing it together on my brush before applying it to my face. I can make it work. It's just a hassle. So don't love doing that, but I can continue to do that to get more consistent progress on this palette before I decide to eventually franken it towards the end of the year. So let me know in the comments below what you think I should do. I'm gonna sit on it for now. If I'm convinced by all of you that now's the time to do it, I will film myself doing it and include that in my next update, because I don't want to miss out on anything exciting, any progress that I could share with you guys. I want to make sure I include that in videos. So we'll see what happens. You'll know my next update what I decide. For now, it's gonna stay together, and I think definitely by October 1st, Then I'll have all of October, November, and December to finish up that bronzer. By October 1st, I definitely will be franking these together. Well, not definitely, depending on where I'm at with them at that time, or maybe sooner. Again, let me know what you think. I'm not making any decisions today. Regardless of what I've been thinking about for this palette, I would like to set a few goals for myself. I'm going to try and reach for Drive and Crisp at least 15 times again. Styling, I would like to get 20 uses on by getting it back into my brows. And let's just put Boss and Hype again at a 5-use goal for each of those. I think those are all very doable goals and will make me feel accomplished by the next update if I hit them. So I'm definitely going to try. Moving on to the next palette I am panning this year. This is my Lorac MegaPro2 palette, and for this palette I am trying to hit pan in every single one of these eyeshadow shades during this year. I'm not really trying to expand any pans or finish any shades. I'll be happy if I just hit pan on every shade, and then this is definitely being decluttered for my collection at the end of the year, hopefully after I hit that goal. So here's what this palette was looking like last month. I had pan in 23 of the 32 shades, so I had 9 more pans to go. And here's what this palette is looking like this month. And without making you search for it, I will tell you now that I do have 2 new pans. I hit pan on Chiffon, that second shade in on the 3rd row. And I also hit pan on Olivine, this 6th shade on the bottom row right there. So there are the 2 new pans. So I now have pan on 25 out of these 32 eyeshadows, and that means I have 7 more to go. So I am feeling so happy that I got 2 new pans. I don't think I hit any new pans last month. Maybe I had just 1, but to have 2 in 1 month feels great. And I needed it because I have more pans in here to hit than I do months in the year to hit them in. So I still need to hit pan on Lavender up here, which has the very slightest little dent in it. It is so firmly packed. It's my challenge shade. I know. Thank you for all the advice on how to use it. I still haven't been able to take that advice. I could have even used it on my look today, but I didn't. Failed opportunity. I also need to hit pan in this shade up here. Ash has a little tiny dent in it. I'm not too worried about that one. I'll use it as a liner shade, bang it out real quick. I have 3 shimmers right here to hit pan on: Cinnamon, Sandstone, and Gunmetal. And then I also have these 2 at the bottom, Dark Sienna and Penny. So Penny has been one of my focus shades during the past month. I hope to reach for it 5 times. I actually reached for it 10 times. So here's what it was looking like last month. And here's what it's looking like today after those 10 uses. And while it has a nice little dip going in there, I still can't believe it doesn't have pan. But 10 uses definitely got me a lot closer to pan, and I'm hoping to have pan on that one next month. I think that that should be doable. Dark Sienna has also been a focus shade several times. It wasn't a focus shade for me this month, but I did reach for it a couple times, and I have quite a good dip going in it. And that is another shade that I hope to hit pan on before the next update. I think that also will be possible if I just put my effort into those 2. So hopefully I'll have 2 more pans for you by the next update, and that will leave me with 5 more to go. I would love to reach for all 5 of these shades, those 3 shimmers and the 2 mattes, at some point during the next month, but particularly I'm going to try to reach for Lavender and Ash 8 times each. I chose 8 because it's the 8th month of the year, and I just feel like that was a very manageable number that wasn't too stressful. Hopefully I can exceed those uses, but 8 is just a good starting point for me. I'm not going to set these as a hard goal, but I'd love to reach for Cinnamon, Sandstone, and Gunmetal at least 1 time during the next month. If I reach for them more, that'd be great. If not, no worries, I'll get to them soon. I would just like to have a little bit more of a dip showing on them for you. So that is my update for the Lorac MegaPro2. 7 more pans to go. Can we get there? If I could start expanding some of these shades, that would be fun to do too. Again, not my focus for this project, but it would just be fun to see this look as used as possible before it gets decluttered at the end of the year. I've also been weighing this palette, but we all know it's kind of been a farce. This month is no different. So last month this was weighing 262.95 grams, and this month it's weighing 263 grams. So it gained weight somehow, even though I hit 2 pans in it. But the previous month I had this huge jump of 0.5 gram, which I knew was incorrect. So, you know, we just have to balance it out with a better measurement the next month. So that is the heaping grain of salt for you. I don't even know why I include this weight update, but I have been, so I'm going to continue to do it throughout the end of the year. And hopefully at least we'll see a trend downward in the end. And now here's that wonderful montage of what this palette has been looking like over the course of the year. Enjoy. So that is all for my Pan Those palettes for this month. I hope you enjoyed this update. I just appreciate you so much for being here and watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.